Hi, well, I am Alex Herring with Gifts and Decorative Accessories, and I am so excited to be launching our Meet the Maker series on Instagram, where we will be talking with gift makers and learning more about the stories behind their products, their inspirations, what's new for the coming year. And to start this series, I am very pleased to be talking with Krystal Banner from Kaleidadope. Hi, Krystal. Thank you so much for joining
Hello.
today.
Of course. I'm glad to be here.
Cool. Well, I just love the name Kaleidadope for a company. So I would love to know, how did you come up with that name?
So, my art is very colorful. My art has always been colorful. And my name is Krystal with a K. Like when people go to spell my name, they usually start with a C. So I've always felt my name was like Krystal with a K. So I wanted to have a name that kind of plays on that. So a kaleidoscope is known for having a lot of colors and being kind of this kaleidoscopic thing that people think is like, oh, that's really cool. And since when I show people my stuff, a lot of people are like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's dope. I'm like, why not? Kaleidadope. It just flows. It works. It's catchy. It's memorable. And I feel like it represents not just me, but my art and the feel of my products.
Yeah, well, that is catchy. So how would you describe your company and what its mission is?
I actually started out because I felt like stationery in general and cards, all kinds of cards, were lacking a bit of representation.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what my passion is. And also I have a passion for art. So it's like, if I would, when I was working as an engineer, I would go into galleries and I would go into all these places. And, sometimes that could be intimidating and overwhelming. And I wanted to make art something that is tangible and something that people are gravitated to. And also, when you look at art, you sometimes want to see something that resonates with you, whether it's like cultural themes or people that look like you or a joke that you understand, things like that. So that's really the mission. Kind of my tagline is color and culture. So I incorporate a lot of color. I incorporate a lot of cultural elements. I also infuse my sense of humor into a lot of my work. I don't take myself too seriously. I think my work is a bit of a Trojan horse too. It looks pretty, so it draws people in. I use my background as an engineer to focus a lot on the aesthetic, and I want it to be a quality product, but also I want people to feel like, whether it's somebody getting a card and smiling, or somebody using a deck of mine for affirmations to get a boost and feel positive, or share positive affirmations, or use a tarot deck or oracle deck for self-discovery. All of that is tapping into people's emotions. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty and it looks cool, but I also want to have that depth and to have something that means something to people.
So how did you go from engineering to designing gifts?
Well, art has always been a passion of mine. Yeah, like when I was a kid, I was always the artist and in art classes and all of that. And nobody ever told me it wasn't a feasible job. I just never knew anybody who was working full time as an artist. So it's not something I pursued. I was always passionate about like math and science. So I took the engineering route, and art was just always in the background, whether it was me painting in my downtime on the weekend, or getting an iPad and drawing and things of that nature. And there just came a time in my career where I was just like, I'm good at this, but I'm not passionate about it. And I think that's the hardest part. It's easy if you hate your job and you're like not making money and it's like, this sucks, I need to go. It's a lot harder when you're making good money, you like your job, you have a lot of flexibility. I was traveling the world at the time. But something was missing. And I felt like art was something that was always calling me back. And I started making cards for friends as just, fun. It was fun. It was funny. And they were like, these are good. You should sell these. And at the time, I was just like, whatever. Like, I don't have time for that. And after a while, I was like, why not? Let me just put some on Etsy and see what happens. And they started selling pretty quickly. And then that kind of clicked for me. I was like, oh, I might be onto something here. And from then, I just kept creating, and an opportunity came. It was almost like synchronicity, where my career, basically, they were like, oh, well, you can leave if you want to, or you can stay. And my mentor at the time was like, you should go. Like, I believe in what you're doing. And I fought it at first, because I'm like, I don't know. This doesn't sound stable at all. But it's something I was really passionate about. And I took a leap of faith, and here I am.
Wow, that's a great story. And speaking of your cards and how funny they are, I recently saw your COVID variant card.
Oh yes, actually,
That cracks me up.
So I don't know if you guys probably can't see it, but it says, unlike a new variant, my love for you will never change. Because I am inspired by all the things going on in our world that are just like either unbelievable, like, and there are some things that are so serious, but sometimes you just have to like laugh to stay sane. And all of these things happening, my way of coping is kind of finding a sense of humor in things, and not just brushing it off, but using it to deal, using it to process. And that's what a lot of my work is. It's me using my art to process things that are going on, to make sense of things, and hopefully make people laugh in the process, or make people able to deal with it a little easier than, taking it to a point where it's like, oh my God, this is so stressful. It is, but like, let's like make a joke about it and keep and move forward. So a lot of my work is just my sense of humor. My family, we're just like jokesters, and it's just how I process things, and my personality. My personality is a huge part of Kaleidadope. So everything you see is a reflection of me, and a big part of that is the humor in my cards, which has connected with a lot of people. And one of my like best sellers was my finest alcohol card, which had a bottle of hand sanitizer on it. And it says, only the finest alcohol for your birthday. And it was because when COVID hit, my sister had to cancel like all her birthday plans, and she was really upset. And this was at the beginning in 2020. And that's when hand sanitizer was like, you couldn't find it anywhere. It was sold out. People were like selling it on the black market for like 10 times the price. And so I made that card for her, just as a way for her to kind of laugh about the situation. And so many people resonated with it. I mean, I can't even thousands and thousands of that card. But I think just it's at a time where nothing makes sense. So it's like, all you can do is like kind of roll with the punches and laugh about it and deal with it in your own way. But yeah, it's a big part of my brand. And I think sometimes you need that to be able to process all the stuff that life brings us. And that kind of feeds into my affirmations too, because I made that deck when I was going through my transition from corporate America to going out on my own. I was fearful, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, this is what they tell you not to do. Like, they tell you to go to school, get a stable job, and you're good. And I'm doing the antithesis of that. And I just was basically speaking affirmations to myself, like, you're great. Like, you could do this, like, embrace the unknown, like all of these things. I was having to change my mindset to expect positive things instead of expecting like everything to crash and crumble. So a lot of those, how I think about things and how I process things, that is really shown in much of my work.
Yeah. Well, I love that too, because I really feel like through this whole pandemic, if you're not laughing about it, you're crying about it. So laughing is definitely so much better. And I have an April birthday. So I remember in the very beginning of 2020, and everyone was like, ah ha ha, you have an April birthday, you don't get to celebrate this year. But then the joke was kind of on everyone else.
And the joke was like,
nobody had a COVID birthday.
Exactly.
Just us spring babies. So I can relate to your sister a little bit there, but that's really nice that you were able to make that gift for her that really cheered her up.
And it was awesome, because that's exactly how I started, was me being cards for friends and family. So that was cool.
Yeah, very cool. And do you have any exciting new projects coming up that you can maybe tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, so I've been working on new cards. You know, the spring is coming up. We have the holidays in the fall. So I've been working on some new cards for that. So look out for that. I'm also working on new incense. So I introduced incense, I think, about a year and a half ago, because I've been a fan of incense recently, but when I was much younger, it just seemed very strong and just offensive. And it was hard to find a scent that I liked. And I wanted to create an incense that was for people who were kind of on the fence, but also I wanted to make it themed. So people can be like, oh, well, if I want to be, get a boost of energy or like feel happy, what is a scent that correlates with that? Or if I want to feel like mellow, like, I'm going to burn sage and all these things, and I just want to relax, woosah, what's an instance for that? And one of my most popular instances is actually called At the Museum. So, I'm an artist. And there's just something about being in a museum that makes you feel cultured and fancy. And I wanted a scent that really makes you feel like, oh, I'm sophisticated. And it feels like, so this scent is that, but just fun things that people can introduce into their home. So it's like branching beyond just stationery, but into like things that inspire me, things people can use for their homes, people can give as gifts. But I try not to box myself in. So wherever my creativity takes me is basically what Kaleidadope has turned into. And it's been exciting because I didn't even intend on doing anything besides cards, greeting cards. So that's why everything is so interesting, because I'm like, wow, this really just blossomed into a whole collection of so many things. But it's awesome because I noticed once I left my corporate career, it was almost like a cap was released off of my creativity, and I was really able to just blossom and create all of these wonderful things. So that has been really exciting and interesting to see what I'm capable of. So that's been really cool.
That is very cool. And thank you so much for sharing. I can't wait to see what crazy, funny things you're going to come up as this, pandemic continues. Well, who knows how long, and, afterwards too. So I just look really forward to continuing to see the stuff that you put out. I think it's been really just uplifting and funny. And thank you for sharing your art with the world.
Thank you so much for having me.